Alright, today we're going to have the Galor-class Type 1 versus the Nebulon-b, one of my personal favorite ships in Star Wars. So because it's my favorite, it's going to start off first. It has 12 laser cannons and 12 turbo lasers and 12 fighters to bring aboard to the fight. Now, one of the things I want to talk about the Nebulon-b is it's a small ship, moderately armed. It has a shield of about 300,000 terawatts, which is pretty decent for a ship of its size. And it has about 21,600 support from its fighter. So each fighter would be about, I'd say, an X-Wing. X-Wing has a shield about 1,000, but carries about 1,800 terawatts of damage. So it's pretty decent. It's going to help it out quite a bit. The only thing I would have to say about the ship that I would be concerned about is if the shields go down, that thin part on the hull that connects the bridge to the back of the ship goes down, the ship's gone. Now let's look at the Galor. The Galor Type 1 is about 84,000 terawatts of damage and 672 terawatts of shield. So obviously it has way more shields and it does produce more damage. One thing I will have to point out about the way these ships operate is typically the Cardassian ships generate all their power into the first forward spiral wave phaser, which is about 30,000 terawatts. Another thing I want to make note of is this is a moderately effective weapon. It does good against small, old Federation class starships, but doesn't do a whole lot against newer age weapons. One other thing I will point out about the Galor is very slow and has poor aiming. It's one of the worst shooting ships you see in the Star Trek universe. Sorry about that. And there is a Type 3 that I know people want to talk about, but we're not using that one because, as you can see, it's just way too powerful for the Nebulon-b, and I just wanted to have a better fight. So another thing I will say about with this fight is what I think is going to happen is I think if these two are going to battle it out to the death, that I think the Nebulon-b is going to come in. First thing it's going to do, it's going to launch its fighters. It's going to try to stay out of range of the Galor ship for as long as possible. The fighters are going to hit it, start harassing it, kind of the same way the Maquis did. Now, one thing I will have to note is pretty much in canon, the range of Star Wars ships and the Federation is the same. But we do know that the Cardassian ships do not have the same range as the Federation, so they're going to take that advantage for as long as they can. But what's going to eventually happen is the Galor will get in range and it will start attacking it and hitting it with that powerful 30,000 terawatt phaser. By this time, I think it probably would have lost about half its shields, but unfortunately, the Nebulon-b will have to get as close as it can to try to avoid that big laser, and it'll start strafing around the side, kind of maneuvering its way out of the way. But it's still got those 8,000 terawatt phasers going against the Nebulon-b's 3,750 terawatt turbo lasers. It just doesn't have the power to take the Galor out, unfortunately. I think it'll give it a good run for its money, but overall I do think that the Galor will take it out, its shields will collapse, and it will focus its fire on that little small area, break it, and the ship will be done. And I think that the X-Wings will continue to fight it out for a little while, but then eventually they'll realize it's time to get out of there, and they will have to go into hyperspace and escape to get away. And at the end of this fight, I will have to say I'm unfortunately going to have to give it to the Galor-class Cardassian cruiser. Not particularly one of my favorite ships, and I lost my favorite ship, but that's okay because we want to go with what happens. So the Galor is the winner.